welcome to Bipolar, Bisexual by myself with Kayla. That's me. I am kind of excited to do this video. I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah, I wanted to talk about my entire mental health journey. I already have talked about my deconstruction journey, so yeah, I just want to talk about all the problems in my brain, all the issues that I got up here, and my long history with mental health issues. Today, the stuffed animal that I have chosen to cuddle with and love is Taco, because I fucking love tacos. I'm from Texas, and it's funny because my boyfriend is from San Francisco, and the big thing there is burritos. And okay, Mayo's creeping over here, just acting like I'm not gonna notice. But yeah, when we first got together, we had, discussions and pretty much a war over which is better, tacos or burritos. So let me know in the comments below which one you like better. Yeah, just go ahead and get snuggled up here, Mayo. If you haven't met him, this is my cat Mayo. He's wearing a cone because he scratches himself to the point where he bleeds, so we have to put a cone on. So I guess I'm actually choosing him to cuddle with right now. I did want to have a little drinky drink right here, and it's a mango mimosa. It's Austin East ciders, and it's 100 calories. I've never tried their light ciders, so I just wanted to give that a try today and get some liquid courage to talk about the fucking deep dark shit that I'm getting into today. One of my favorite YouTubers, I think her name is Kenny D. She reacts to, shows and movies and everything. She's so funny, but whenever she drinks in her videos, she always does a little ASMR with her. I'm like so far away and now I can't move because of Mayo, but she does a little ASMR with her drink, so hopefully that sounds okay. And then little, ooh, oh my god, that squirted on me. I don't know why I said squirted, but it's not bad. It definitely tastes light, but it's nothing I couldn't get used to. So yeah, I am just wanting to get right into it. I don't really want to edit this video much. I'm just gonna start talking and just ramble on until I can't anymore. So, okay, where do I start? So my mental health journey has been interesting, to say the least. I went undiagnosed for a long time, and even when I was diagnosed, I was misdiagnosed. But yeah, I always knew that I had issues talking to people. It's weird because when I was a little girl, I didn't have that many problems. I was very vocal. I had an attitude. I was a sassy little girl. I would always, tell it like it is. People would always say that, not to brag or anything, but people would say that I always seemed very confident in who I was when I was a little girl. I recited things in church, poems, and, I was always in the plays. I feel like I was very sure of myself when I was a little girl. And something changed probably when I was in elementary school or going into middle school. And I feel like this is definitely a transition that a lot of people struggle with because it's just such an awkward age. Your hormones are going wild. You are moving up in grade levels. You're being introduced to different types of people. You're self-conscious. You're thinking about what you should wear, the things that you should say, how you should act. And so I definitely had a hard time going through that stage. I got my period early as well. I literally was 9 when I got my period, so that didn't help as well. I was feeling a lot of things, and I think this is when I started to notice that maybe there is something different about me, or maybe there's things that I need to deal with. I always kind of was conscious of the way that I was being perceived by other people. And I know that's normal especially in a middle school setting. I always thought that I said the wrong things, that I acted the wrong way. There would be some days where I just ate my lunch in the bathroom. I had all of these feelings that I didn't know how to describe. I would have times where, I was really self-conscious and I didn't know, the term anxious, but I was very anxious and I wanted to do things right. But I don't know. I went through a cycle of emotions all the time. I was happy for short times, and then I would have anxiety for short times and really be worried about things out of my control or things about myself or if people liked me. I worried a lot about that. I worried about little things like going up in front of the class to do presentations. I mean, that's a big thing, but the little things like throwing away trash, like thinking back about this, it does make me a little sad because I would honestly, I would have to work myself up to throw things away if, the trash can was in the front of the classroom or I had to use the bathroom. I would have a really hard time speaking up and asking to go. And sometimes I just couldn't work myself up to that point. So I would just hold it, or I would just, have my trash in my hand and like wait until the end of class. So little things like that. And then obviously bigger things like presenting in front of the class, speaking in front of, a large group of people. That made me extremely nervous. Even though I always did very well, I was a very good student. I was very accomplished. I was in the National Honor Society. I had good grades. I feel like the formula was all there, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I was set up pretty well. My home life was fine. Obviously every family has their issues, but that is something that really bugged me for a long time because I could never pinpoint where these feelings were coming from. And I just really, my conclusion was always that, oh, okay, there's just something wrong with me. Nobody else feels this way. I'm alone. I don't think anyone else understands. So that was my anxiety. With my depression, I noticed that around the same time when I was in middle school. I would just have, times where I got very sad. I didn't know why. Sometimes I wouldn't have a reason. Sometimes I would. Sometimes I would feel like I did something wrong, said something wrong, or I wasn't as cool as like other people. I would be comparing myself a lot to other people, and I have always critiqued myself very harshly. So that was difficult as well. And I have learned now that a lot of that stems from just having perfectionistic tendencies and wanting to do everything the right way. Because I was, a good student, I always kind of held myself up to a higher standard. I always had high expectations for myself, pretty much in any way in my life. And when I didn't live up to those expectations, I felt like I failed. So that's something that I still am working on, honestly, to this day. So all of these things kind of started around that age, my preteen years, and it was very difficult. I was going through a lot of things that I just didn't understand. I didn't have the terminology for it. I wasn't diagnosed until I was, late in high school. So yeah, it was just something that I dealt with. My mom has told me just now, like, she did notice that sometimes I would come home very sad. Sometimes I would come home and just like sleep, or I wouldn't want to really like talk. I would just go in my room, and sometimes she knew that I was crying and she thought that, things were happening in school, that I was being bullied, all of that. But I wasn't. I was just sad. Yeah, I was just sad. And this honestly reminds me, I'm going to see this girl, Julia Wolf. I saw her at ACL. Sorry, this is so random. But I'm going to a concert on Friday with my boyfriend. I'm dragging him with me because I like her music. But yeah, we're going to go see her on Friday. And she has this song, I Got Sad Too Young. It's so beautiful. And it pinpoints everything that I felt when I was a kid. Yeah, so if you, yeah, definitely, I might put a link to it if I can do that, figure out how to do that. I really resonate with that song. Also, Lonely by Noah Cyrus. I don't know why I'm giving song recommendations now. This is so random. But yeah, Lonely, I resonate with that song as well. There's a lot. Honestly, I could share my depression playlist on Spotify if y'all want to know about that. But anyway, back to my mental health journey. Yeah, so I was dealing with all of these emotions. I didn't know where they stemmed from. I don't have that much trauma in my life. I feel like a lot of the trauma that I have is self-inflicted because of the way that I think about myself, the negative thoughts that I have. So that was always something that I struggled with as well. I felt like I didn't deserve to be as sad as I was because I didn't have these huge things that had happened in my life for me to feel the way that I did. Obviously now I know that you don't really need any of, like, it can be genetic, it can come from a variety of things, like as to why people behave the way that they do, why they have the symptoms that they do, the mental illnesses that they do. So that was a misconception that I had as well. I felt like I never knew where it stemmed from. Now I do kind of know, I recognize things in my childhood that happened, things with my family, the way that I was raised, the environment that I was in. I can understand that definitely attributed to everything that I was feeling, but I didn't know that at the time. So yeah, I got through middle school. I just kind of pushed through it. I had really low moments. I had high moments as well. Sometimes I was happy, sometimes I was sad, sometimes I was anxious, sometimes I was in the middle and didn't really feel anything. So I get into high school. I'm still feeling this way. I'm still really self-conscious. I'm anxious. I have moments where I just can't stop crying. I'm crying uncontrollably. People are concerned about me. I have times where I really I can't control my emotions. So sometimes I wouldn't go to class, or I would have to step out and just like cry. And I did know some people who were going through mental health things as well. I won't name their names, but they helped me through that as well because they had been through similar things. But yeah, in high school there came a point where it was just so noticeable that, oh my god, why am I getting emotional? It was really noticeable to people that I just was not okay. And I found out that like a few of my teachers were like kind of emailing back and forth about me. And I don't remember if they reached out to my parents or what happened, because I do remember I started talking to the school counselor, which that is a whole nother thing, because at least in my school, the school counselor, she wasn't like a psychiatrist, she wasn't a psychologist, she wasn't a social worker even. I don't even think she was a social worker. They were specifically school counselors. So they were the ones that just help with your schedule and things like that. So I could tell she tried her best. Oh my gosh. I could tell she tried her best, but she wasn't equipped to really help me. She just wasn't equipped. She didn't have the training. So that kind of like irritated me as well, because I felt like no one really could help me. I did have teachers like take me aside and tell me like, I've noticed that you've been like really down, like I hope that you're okay, all of that. And this really got bad my senior year. I'm just gonna take a little break because, oh my gosh, this is too much. Does anyone get tingles from that? I feel like the tapping trigger doesn't really work for me in ASMR. I watch a lot of ASMR. But yeah, where was I? So it all got pretty bad my senior year of high school. I just felt like it had been building up pretty much my whole life up until that point. And I first Well, this was the year that I smoked a little schmeed. I started smoking a little schmeed. I didn't smoke a lot in high school. I mean, I don't think it matters if I did or not. I definitely do now. I definitely partake in, just what is it called? What is it called? Self-medicating. Yes, I still do that to this day. I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, obviously, I feel like the majority of people have at least tried it or do it on a semi-regular basis. So I don't think it's that taboo anymore, which I'm happy about because it really has helped me in my mental health journey. And honestly, that probably will be another video. But yeah, I did smoke a few times in high school, and the reason why I did was because I was sad and I had heard that, it could make you happy, and it did. The first few times I did get anxiety because I didn't understand what was happening with my body. I didn't understand why I felt like I was moving in slow motion. I was kind of freaked out a little bit, but then, I watched some South Park and, I was fine. I was laughing and having a good time. So yeah, that was one of my coping skills then, but it's okay. You coughing? Yeah, that was one of my coping skills then, just for a while, and then I took a break after that. But, and here we go. This is when it all kind of blew up a little bit. It was just a random night. I don't really remember that much about what had happened that day, but I was having a bit of a high. I was in my room, and when you're like in your room and you're like having a good time, like you're listening to music and like pretending that you're like a superstar and like you're like mouthing the words, like dancing around and shit. I was doing that. Okay, you're coming back? I was doing that, and you're gonna fall off. You're so big, man. You're gonna fall off. I was doing that, and I was happy. I was having a good time, and then all of a sudden, I just felt, I don't even know how to describe it. I felt bad. I felt kind of bad, but kind of nothing too. I sat down on the edge of my bed, and I just kind of stared at the wall for a while, and as I was trying to snap out of whatever state I was in, I started rocking back and forth, and I kept saying mommy for some reason. Like that was the only thing that I could say. I couldn't make myself say anything else than that, so I kept saying mommy. I was rocking back and forth, just kind of in a trance a little bit, and my parents came into the room. While this was happening, I started crying as well. I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew that I didn't feel in control of my body. There were some points where I actually felt like I was hovering over myself and looking down at myself. I didn't feel like I was occupying, this. So that was very scary. I didn't feel like I could say anything. I could control anything that was happening. I couldn't really move except for like the rocking back and forth or like kind of repetitive behaviors, like, hitting myself or, doing something like that. So obviously this was really scary for my parents, and somehow they were able to transport me to the car, and I'm still in this state this whole time. We go to the hospital, the emergency room. I am put on a bed in a little room. They gave me some sort of, I'm guessing it was like a sedative. I don't know what they give. Oh my god, man, that's literally that's literally my okay. Yeah, they gave me some sort of sedative to calm me down because I really just I was not capable of snapping out of that state. And now I know that I get these all mixed up, and I still don't know what was happening. Like specifically, I know that I was having some sort of dissociative experience. Well, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself, I went to the hospital. I just remember waking up after that and being in some sort of facility. I was in a psychiatric hospital. My parents I was 18, but I think my parents still were able to check me in. I don't know how that works. This was the spring break of my senior year, and I spent it in a psychiatric hospital. That deserves another drink. I spent it in a psychiatric hospital. I was told that the thing that I was going through was a catatonic episode, and the thing that I didn't know this then, but when I went to college, that August after this had happened, this was spring break is March, so this is March. I had learned that there is an association of catatonia with schizophrenia, so that kind of freaked me out. That's something that I learned later on, but it was some sort of depersonalization, derealization, dissociative experience, and it was a catatonic episode. So I'm checked into this psychiatric facility. I was there for a week. I still have, which I could get that, but I don't know if I want to get that right now. Maybe that'll be yet another video. I still have a little notebook that I took notes in while I was there. And I kind of just wrote down my days. The first few days, I don't remember doing much. I feel like I kind of just stayed in bed and wrote in my journal and laid. I had to go to these group sessions that they had, and then I had a social worker appointed to me. I don't remember his name, but he was very nice. I liked him a lot. He made me comfortable. I still, for the majority of the time while I was there, I didn't talk much. I was pumped up with a lot of meds. I think they gave me five medications to take while I was there, so I was very drugged up. I was drugged up to the point where I didn't feel anything. So that was weird, to go from a state of feeling everything and being so depressed and stuck in my body and feeling just so much at once to feeling nothing at all. That was the weirdest fucking thing of my life. I had a roommate. Her name was I have her as a friend on Facebook. She's so sweet. She was there. I don't know if I can even say this. She had, some similar issues to me. It was an experience. I met some good people there. I wasn't very comfortable at first. I didn't really eat. But then Sam told me that I should eat because they're not gonna let me out. They're probably gonna weigh me before I leave. And then I was like, oh my god, I don't want to be here any longer. Because I feel like I was under the impression that I was gonna be there just a couple days, and then it turned into a week. Because they were monitoring me, and there were always people coming into the room every 15-20 minutes to make sure you don't yourself. Not that we had anything that we could have done with that. Oh my god. Right on the boob. We couldn't have done anything. Everything was very safe. Really, there was nothing we could have done. I didn't have shoelaces. I wore slippers. My parents brought me some clothes that I'm pretty sure they had bought because it couldn't have anything on. I don't think it could have buttons or zippers or anything. So it was just very comfortable, basic clothes that I wore, and slippers while I was there. And I don't even know what else to say about that. I was in that certain unit for the majority of the time, and then I think by the end I was moved to another wing for some reason. Oh, I do know the reason, because there was a man in there that, I don't know if he took a liking to me. He was an older black man, and he talked about some things that happened in his life, or things that, you know, he thought were happening. I'm not sure how much of that was reality, but I'm pretty sure that's the reason why I was moved, because it seems like he was maybe a little too interested in talking to me. So I went to a wing with like much older people. They were very nice too. I met an older black man who told me about his daughter. Yeah, that was very sweet. But yeah, I met a lot of different people. I recently watched a movie with Emma Roberts and what's that nigga's name? What is his name? And Emma Roberts and, well, Zach Galifianakis was in it. And why can I not remember the main? Oh, it was I don't know his name. It was the guy from Atypical. I recently watched a movie, and they were in a psychiatric hospital. And honestly, it was kind of on point. Like they kind of did that. It was giving my experience, and it kind of made me a little emotional. My boyfriend was like, "Are you sure you want to watch this? Like, is this not going to trigger you?" There were some points where I was like, "Oh my god, this is too uncanny. This is too spot on." But I'm glad that there's, you know, at least a little bit of representation about people going through those experiences. But yeah, it was a time. I met a lot of good people. I'm friends with a few of them on Facebook. By the end, I was able to open up, you know, in the group sessions, and I felt like I had improved a little bit, but I also, what are you doing? But I also knew that I kind of was just wanting to get out of there, so I wasn't sure how much of it was progress, how much of it was me just being like medicated, like heavily medicated. I didn't know. I really didn't know. So yeah, I went through that, and I went home. That transition, no, that's my new tattoo, okay? You can't touch that. The transition from getting out of there and going home was very weird as well. I was having a very hard time eating. I don't remember how long I stayed home after, like while school was going. I don't remember how long, but it was at least a few days, and I was having a hard time eating, so my mom would get me these protein shakes that I would eat, and I just kind of laid in bed. Yeah, and then I went back to school, and a funny side note, I was really big into Snapchat when I was in high school. I feel like a lot of us were, at least during that time period, like 2017 and like a little before. And I lost all my fucking streaks. And I don't bite my finger. And I remember being so upset. Like, I wasn't even upset that I had gone through this whole like terrible experience, and like I had this like mental breakdown, and I was thinking about my fucking Snapchat streaks. Like, I was so mad. I tried to tell my parents to make my brother like keep them up. I'm pretty sure. I think I remember doing that. Also, while I was in the hospital, my parents did visit me a few times, and those visits were weird as well, because I felt good when I had them. I'd be like, oh, I feel so much better, I feel so good, but that was just me being heavily medicated. So yeah, that goes back to like me just not knowing how it was really affecting me, but because it all happened so fast and I didn't know what was going on. I was just a kid. I was 18, but I was a kid. So yeah, I went back to school. I still had a hard time. I definitely started schmirking. Oh my god. I definitely started smoking a little more during that time, because it did help. It helped a lot. I felt I don't know, it made me feel better. Still does. So like, what's the harm in that? But yeah, also, I feel like I'm all over the place in this video, but I hope you're sticking with me. Also, with the smoking thing, there was a time where my parents found out. They found out because I was being very stupid about it. Like, I wouldn't even go outside, guys. I wouldn't even go outside. I would open the window, and I had a bowl. I had ordered all this stuff from Amazon. Literally all of it. Except for, obviously, the speed. But I'm pretty sure you can say, I don't even know. I don't know YouTube's regulations or guidelines or whatever, so I'm not even going to say it, but I'm just going to keep saying speed. But yeah, I'd order all this stuff from Amazon because I was like, okay, I'm hardcore about to be a stoner right now. Like, I don't care. Like, it makes me feel good. But then my parents found out one day because I was being stupid. I only opened the window and I would like smoke out of it. And then they gave me this whole lecture about, you know, schmugs and all of that. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I remember they were so disappointed. And I was like, I'm sorry. This is the only thing like getting me through life right now. Like, I vaguely remember being like, I'm so sorry. I'm just sad. And like, this helps me. So like, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, after all of that, I went back to school. I told my best friend, told her about everything that had happened. She's like, what is going on with you? We were like on the rooftop or something? We were somewhere, and then I think I had been avoiding my friends. I really don't. All of this is so blurry because it was just such a dark time. I feel like my brain just like blocked it out. But I told her about, you know, everything that was going on. I told her that there was a time where I didn't want to be alive, and I was having some troubles, some mental, okay? I'm coughing? I was having some mental troubles. So I opened up about that, and a few people knew. So yeah, I pretty much just dealt with all of that for the summer, and then I was off to college in August. My mom says that she was very scared about this transition. Obviously, I had had a mental breakdown in March, and then I was going off to another city, albeit it was a very close city. It's just a few towns over. But she was very concerned about how I would deal with that. But, you know, ultimately it was a pretty smooth transition. I was happy to have some space and be able to just feel a little more independent. I continued to smoke, and that helped a lot. I just kind of focused on my studies. That first semester was a little rough. I had never, you know, done badly in school, so that was different because I feel like wasn't really very prepared for how different college was going to be to high school, because you just have so much independence where it's like you can do whatever you want. Like, no one's going to fucking force you to go to class. You just kind of make yourself go. So I was like, oh wait, I don't have to go to class, and so I just didn't. And then I was on academic probation, which is again another thing, but which I had never been on. Like, what? That was so foreign to me. So that was definitely the kick in my ass that I needed. So I got myself together, and this was also around the time where I met my boyfriend. My man. I met Philip, I met my boyfriend, and then we got together. He definitely helped me in my mental health journey as well, and I felt really bad at first talking to him about these things. I felt like I didn't deserve to be with him. I felt like I felt bad because I didn't want him to have to deal with my mood swings and me going through periods of sadness and him not knowing what to do or how to support me. I felt really guilty about that for a long time. He was always very reassuring and just let me know that he would be there to support me always. And he still has been to this day, so I love him for that. I met him, I met his family. They probably are a big reason why I was able to get through college as well. They were a big support. They were very, very sweet, very nice, always understanding, welcomed me into their home. with no questions asked. And yeah, that definitely was the support that I needed as well. But yeah, I got through college, still had the same issues. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, when I went to the hospital as well, that's when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I wasn't officially diagnosed with social anxiety, but I've always had that, so I knew that. And then major depressive disorder. And then they just said that the catatonia was just like a one-off thing, which was always kind of weird to me. I was like, how does this fit into all the other issues that I have? I never really understood that. So yeah, I was diagnosed when I went there, and then I knew that all throughout college. I had low moments after I graduated college, mostly having to do with the job that I worked. I worked in a call center, and I gave like counseling and legal referrals to people. It was a what is it called? Employee assistance program. So they would call and want to get their therapy sessions set up and their legal services, like setting up, appointments for that. And a lot of people called and they were like quite literally in the middle of a crisis. That was really hard to deal with, especially with me going through my own mental health issues. I thought I was equipped for it because I went to college with a psychology degree. I graduated with a major in psychology. But that wasn't for me. I feel like my mental health definitely declined while I was in that job as well, because I was being screamed at every day. I worked from home, which was nice, but that also made me feel a little bit lonely sometimes. This was before we got Mayo, so I was truly like by myself. It was a hard time, and ultimately I had to quit that job because it was just, I was crying every day. I was dreading even rolling over and logging on. So that was very difficult. And yeah, that was very triggering, that experience as well. But while I was in that job, that was the first time that I started going to therapy, and I met the therapist that I meet with still to this day. She is freaking amazing. I would 100% recommend her. I don't know if I'm able to like put her information down. I don't know to what extent patient confidentiality. I mean, I'm literally telling you all that she's my therapist. I don't know. I'll ask her. I have an appointment on Thursday, so I'll ask her like how to go about that. But I would honestly recommend her if I'm able to. I will recommend her to any person, especially, I don't know, if you're Black. She's with it. She is so relatable. She makes me feel so comfortable and welcome in the sessions. But yeah, I started talking to her, and I think the fall of that year, what was that, like 2018, 2019? No, that's so wrong. Wait, when the fuck did I start talking to her? What is the year? It's 2024. I graduated 2017 from high school. I graduated college 2020. So, okay, this was like 2021 when I started talking to her. It took me a long time to open up to her. I had only been, this is something else that I forgot. I went to therapy shortly after I got out of the hospital during the summer. Before I went to college, it was a very nice woman. I don't remember her name. She was very sweet. She was an art therapist, I think specifically, because I was really into coloring at that time. That was one of my big coping mechanisms, coloring. And I still have a shit ton of coloring books to this day, and like markers and different cute pens and all of that when I feel like it. She was very nice. I don't think we kept up with that for too long because it was pretty expensive. Therapy is very expensive, and I feel bad that it's not accessible to more people. For that reason, I think it's very sad because honestly, I feel like every single person could benefit to therapy, even if you don't feel like you have issues. It's just so helpful to work through just little things that happen in your life, or really understanding why you react the way that you do to certain things, or if there's like a deeply rooted cause to like your behaviors. It's really beneficial, so I recommend it to anyone. But yeah, when I started talking to her, I really opened up to her over, a good amount of time. When I felt comfortable, I shared a lot of things. We were able to get to the bottom of a lot of things. I figured out that a lot of the the cause of a lot of my issues is internal. There are outside factors like the way that I was raised. No judgment to my parents, no shade to them, but I was raised in an environment where how did I say this? They already knew that I was a high achiever. Is that a high achiever? Yeah. I always strive to do my best. So at a certain point, that became the expectation. And I felt like if anytime like I was below that, they didn't like really express it, but I did feel like I was disappointing them. Being raised in a religious household, being Christian, that definitely played into that as well, because you're taught that we're all sinful, disgusting, fucking shitty ass people and we need to be saved from ourselves pretty much. And I really ran with that. I felt like the things that I was going through, I deserved it somehow. I felt like maybe I wasn't doing enough to praise God. Maybe God just didn't love me. He wanted me to go through these terrible things because, just for fun for him. Like, I don't know. That was always very confusing to me as to why it was happening when I did believe in God, because I felt like he could have fixed it and he wasn't. So that was something as well that really affected me. But yeah, in the household that I grew up in, also, there was a lot of judgment, I will say. Judgment of ourselves, judgment of other people. So it was hard for me as well. And I had an aha moment in therapy one time when I was talking about, how we were kind of raised with those judgmental behaviors kind of being instilled in us. And my therapist was like, well, why would you not feel like, your family is judging you when you've watched them your whole life judge other people? And then I was like, bitch. I was like, that's good. I was like, that fucking makes sense. So yeah, I kind of learned that a lot of the things that I dealt with was from that. I do have perfectionist tendencies. Like I said before, I always want to do something right. One of my triggers is making mistakes, even if it's not a mistake, even if no one else would recognize it as a mistake. If I felt like I say something that was like stupid or like insensitive, even if the other person probably isn't even thinking about it, I'm like freaking out about it. Like, and I still have this issue to this day. Like, I'll leave events or, outings and gatherings, and then I'll just like, I go from a high to a low. Like, I'll have a good time there, and then when I leave, I'll immediately start crying or having anxiety, being like, oh my God, I was acting so stupid. I hate myself. So yeah, that has happened a lot in my life, and I never understood why. I always was like, oh, this is just my anxiety and my depression. But in discussing those, events further with my therapist, we came to the conclusion, well, she came to the conclusion, obviously I'm not fucking, I don't know anything, but she was like, well, I'm thinking maybe you have bipolar disorder. Bipolar 2 specifically. And when she told me that, don't cough. I had a hard time dealing with that. I actually knew that, a female family member has bipolar in my family. So it made sense because, in college as well, I did psychology, so I knew that That was a possibility. It could have been passed down genetically. I knew that my grandma had some sort of mental health issues. I never knew why. I've gotten some clarity about that now. Some clarity still. I don't know why Black people don't fucking talk about the problems. That's another video also. But yeah, I had a hard time accepting that for a while. But when she described it and we talked about how I do have these stints of depression, and then I do have these stints of, it's bipolar 2, so it would be hypomania. It all started to make sense. I didn't understand the hypomania part for a long time because I had always thought, oh, okay, I feel better, I feel good. So I thought that I was going from depression to just being happy or just feeling okay. But then when I thought about it more, I would be like, oh yeah, there are times where, you know, I feel like I have more energy than I usually would normally have. I feel like I'm talking more because, again, I have social anxiety. I fucking hate interacting with people. I mean, I don't hate it, but like it takes a lot of energy for me and I get drained very easily. So I'm very careful with like my interactions that I have so I don't get burnt out and like want to pass away. Yeah, but I did notice when I started observing my behaviors in those times where I wasn't sad, I was talking a lot, I was very active, I was able to get a lot of things done, I was making appointments, I was doing projects, I was being creative, I was writing every day. So it all started to click in my brain and make sense. So yeah, I am bipolar. That's why I am bipolar bisexual by myself, bitch. I should change my channel to that. Anyway, yeah, so that is something that I recently learned within the past year, year and a half maybe. So I've been dealing with that. I've tried to be more observant of my behaviors. I've tried to work on having more coping skills, healthy coping skills, not like this shit. So yeah, I am definitely still a work in progress. I recently went through a similar thing that I went through with my last job, because now I've quit my most recent job and I'm starting a new one in May. But I started having those symptoms again. I was so sad. I was dreading waking up. I was crying every day. So that's when I decided to quit because honestly, no fucking job is worth your mental health. Like, honestly, it's not that fucking serious. Like, I'm just here for a check and I can get a check somewhere else. So that's ultimately the thing that I decided to do. Yeah, hopefully this new job is okay because it does seem like I will have to interact with people again. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm traumatized from that fucking call center. But I suspect it should be a better fit this time, but we'll just see. If not, I'll get another job. Yeah, I'm still on my mental health journey. I am learning and growing every single day. I feel like a part of my healing as well has been through TikTok, which sounds so funny. But I post videos. I started posting videos about my anxiety and little things that I noticed about it that I felt like was weird and I didn't know if anyone could relate to it. Turns out we're all living the same fucking life separately. Like, the amount of comments that I've gotten saying, oh my God, I thought I was the only one that felt like this or has gone through this is honestly insane. And it warms my heart. It's bittersweet because I hate that we all go through things like this and feel, you know, sadness and anger and grief and like hardship. But also, I feel like it should bring us together because I've had moments where I honestly felt like I didn't want to be here. I didn't really get into it, but I did have a period of time where I was self-harming, and I just know how difficult it can be to just get through the day, honestly, to just want to be here, to find a reason to want to be here. So yeah, I've grown as well. Through my TikTok, I've met so many amazing people who have similar experiences and can relate to the things that I've gone through, and that has helped me so much to just really understand things just with a bigger lens. But yeah, I think that is it. I probably left some things out. Hey y'all, I just wanted to come in here and give a little update before I end the video because there have been a lot of things that have happened since I filmed. It was literally during the summer, and it is, as you can see, it is almost Halloween. So it took me so long to edit and do all of this shit to this video because I've been doing so many other things. So many things have happened. But, oh, side note, also, I talked about going to Julia Wolf's concert. I was like, oh, I'm going this Friday. Well, obviously that was months ago. This is a shirt that I got from her concert. I didn't wear this unintentionally. I forgot I even mentioned it in this video. But this is a shirt, and I got her to sign it. So that was really cool. I don't know. Everything always comes together. But the update that I did want to speak about is I am currently on medication. It has been the longest time that I have been on medication in my entire life. I'm taking one for mainly my anxiety and having sleep issues because sometimes I have insomnia. I have like rumination and I overthink a lot, so sometimes I can't sleep. So I have one for that. I have one that is a mood stabilizer that is mainly for my bipolar disorder. So instead of me having really high highs and low lows, it kind of keeps me level in the middle. I still have little moments, but it doesn't get to the point that it used to before. And then the third one is mainly for my depression, just to maintain my mood. So yeah, I have been speaking with a psychiatrist. She's really sweet, really nice. I have gotten more comfortable with her, so that's been a really good experience. The transition from never being on medication, well, I was for just like a month or two before, to now regularly taking medication has been interesting. I'll probably make another video about that. But yeah, I'm on medication right now. I'm doing pretty well. I have my little moments, you know, it's always ups and downs in life anyway. So you just have to expect that regardless of whatever situation you're in. But I will say I am doing pretty well. I feel like I'm working on my coping skills a lot. The medication really helps to chill me out, to mellow me out. A lot of the little things that I would have anxiety over, I just don't have anymore. So yeah, I've definitely improved. This is definitely a positive update. I just wanted to throw this in there because yeah, I filmed it again a long fucking time ago and a lot of things have happened. So yeah, I just wanted to add that little thing in there. So I'll go back and I don't know, play the rest of the video. It's only a few more minutes and then my outro. I will talk to y'all guys later. I'm so sorry that this fucking cup is like in the, okay, whatever. Bye y'all. But this was just a video that I didn't want to edit that much. I just wanted to just fucking ramble and talk. I know some things were out of order. I apologize for that, but you know what? I'm just doing my best. We're all just out here doing our best. So don't come at me with that, okay? But yeah, that's really it. If you have any questions about my mental health journey, I don't really like to give advice because I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay? But yeah, if you want to talk about your experiences or share something about that or ask questions, anything, just leave it in the comments down below. I feel good. I feel great. I'm so glad that I was able to have the energy to make this video because I have wanted to do it since I started. I'm glad that I didn't have to use this at all. Got through it, no tears. I feel like I watered up a little bit at one point. But if you have gotten through to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad I felt comfortable enough to do this at this point in time. I just feel like we should all share the things that we've gone through if you're comfortable, because I feel like it really does help other people cope with the things that they're going through. But yeah, I need to lay down after this or maybe get some food. I'm hungry. So thank you so much for watching. Again, this has been Bipolar, Bisexual by myself, and I am Kayla, and I don't know if he's still in the shop, but this is Mayo. Yeah, I will talk to y'all later. I hope you're doing okay today.